Hi everyone. You have stumbled across episode 8 of FrallaKnits. My name is Stephanie. My pronouns are she, her, and it's been a while. It's been, it's been about a month, which isn't too bad. When I started my channel, I was trying to stick to a 2-week time frame, but that just wasn't going to happen this month. It's been crazy. Not in a bad way, just not in a, this is what I would have thought November would be like. It's just been really busy. So I'm gonna put the life update stuff up front here. Feel free to skip over it if you'd like. Just look for me holding up, my whips and that, and you'll know that the cross stitch will have started. So, life update. The last I saw you, I was planning on getting on the plane the next day to fly to Montreal to go and see Pink with my eldest. So the night before, about 9 p.m. the night before, our family had been battling a cold. It started with my partner, and then it came on to me, and then my kid got it. And so the night before, 9 p.m., they were just miserably sick. And we were getting ready to pack, because when else do you pack but 9 p.m. the day before you leave? And just the look on their face, I was like, you don't want to go. And I don't particularly want to travel with sick kid if I don't have to. And so I was willing to just let, the flight and hotel and tickets just kind of, go to the wayside. I discussed, a thing that I learned in philosophy, the throwing good money after bad. Like, we've already paid for this stuff, but where we are right now, you don't want to go. It's okay, right? Like, we aren't going to go just because the money's out there. Make the choice right now. So they decided they wanted to stay, which was fine. So then I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm not going. Well, my partner and I love a good road trip. We've seen Pink together before. And so I was like, hey, maybe, we have the hotel paid for, we have the tickets paid for. Maybe if the kid's dad is willing to take them, we can go. But because it was the day before the concert, the day before we'd be flying, sorry, a ticket for him was going to be $2,000, and that just wasn't in the cards. Love Pink, not quite that much. Actually, probably that much. So anyways, we decided we were going to drive instead to Montreal, which is about 8 hours plus stops. So, I mean, not too bad. It was the end of October, beginning of November. And so we kind of checked on the weather. It looked decent, and we ended up driving, which gave me a ton of, I think I was planning on stitching on the plane. I switched that to knitting in the car, and you will see the fruits of my labor shortly. So we drove, saw the concert. It was fantabulous. When I get big, I want to be like Pink. She is like powerful and amazing. And, I think she's about a year older than I am. So, I'm just half a step behind her. Next year, I will be as awesome as she. So that was kind of event number 1. A couple of weeks after that, our city hosted an NCAA basketball tournament. 4 teams came up from the States and played at our arena. And it was a ton of fun. It went over pretty well, and they're going to be back next year. I don't know if it's going to be the same teams or different ones, but yeah, it was fun. And that also gave me another large chunk of knitting time. So you'll see that later on too. So much knitting this video. Last week I got to go and watch Ellen of Maximum Cross Stitch and the Crash Test Dummies. They were in town. And I went out to see that concert. They played some oldies, they played some new stuff, they played Christmas music. The eeriest Jingle Bells rendition I've ever heard, and I loved it. So that was great fun. What else? Oh, the Santa Claus parade was just this Saturday. Today, I should say, is Monday, November 27th. So on Saturday was the Santa Claus parade. My youngest is in Air Cadets, and he was marching in the parade, playing the glockenspiel, which the best I can describe, if you don't know what a glockenspiel is like a vertical xylophone, I guess, but the keys, the notes that you hit are made of metal instead of wood. So they were playing Christmas songs, walking down the street. It was, you know, it was a lot of practice beforehand. He had a great time. And it was freezing cold. Oh my goodness, it was so cold. He was all bundled up and also was walking. The three of us adults, his dad, my partner, and I, all went to go and drop him off, and then we wanted to watch him in the parade, and then we had to go and drive to the end of the parade route, which was just over an hour walking distance away, to go and pick him up. Luckily, his group let off the parade, so the three of us, freezing on the side of the road, saw him and immediately packed up and booted it. Didn't even see Santa. So yeah, that was fun. It feels like Christmas is finally kind of, you know, getting into my blood. I'm reading some really sappy Christmas, basically like Hallmark movie in a book. So I've been reading that, listening to an audiobook of similar, and started in on the cheesy Christmas movies. So I'm trying my best to get into the season, into the spirit. The last kind of big news, I'm not sure if I mentioned this earlier, but I have been off work for just about a year. Almost said month. No, it's been longer. Just about a year. Last November, I went off work due to burnout. I had a lot of stuff going on in my family life, in my personal life, and with work as well. And kind of I needed to drop something before I completely lost it. And I couldn't drop my family. I couldn't drop myself. So work was the thing to go. I've been on a long-term disability program since, and on Wednesday, so 2 days from now, I am starting my return to work. So that's exciting. I will have less time for stitching, but more time for reading. I'll be able to read on my breaks at work, and reading has really grabbed me again. So that's been taken away from stitching time as well, which I'm totally cool with. But, you know, maybe if I do reading on my breaks at work, it'll leave me that feeling of satisfaction, and I'll have more time for stitching in the evenings. We'll see. So yeah, there's your life update. We are almost 9 minutes in, and let's get on with the crafting. I have so many knitting finishes. Oh my goodness. But we will start with my cross stitch and go from there. So, and I'm back. We'll see how I do splicing those two videos together. Just got a call from our vet. My cat is in there getting spayed, and so they'd like us to come and pick her up at 1:45. Right now it's noon, so hopefully this video is done by then. I am surrounded by a ton of stuff. If this is a 2-hour long video, something went terribly wrong. All right, so where were we? We were talking about cross stitch whips. Okay, so I guess we'll just start thing number one. I am going to the Jingle Ball on, it's next weekend. I have signed up for 3 classes and I have failed at my homework. This is the only stitching I've done for all 3 classes. I'm almost done one of my bookmarks. So this is for my Tiny Modernist bookmark class. I don't know why I chose to stitch, you know, the spring of all of the things that I could be stitching. There's a class that I'm taking with Christmas ornaments. I'm also taking one to make a Christmassy biscornu. The bookmark one came with a wintry one and a spring one, and I stitched the spring. So I'm almost done the front of the bookmark. This is just the called for DMC, and on Vintage Country Mocha Ada. And yeah, so hopefully I'll have this done. I will probably not even have started the other two class projects, and that's fine. You know, I'll stitch them at some point. I'll still attend the classes and kind of learn all the finishing stuff. So there we go, whip number one. Whip number two, on the 13th, I picked up my All Hallows Eve sampler that I am stitching with Elizabeth at Savory Sewing. And I worked down here this month with these curly cues. She started in the middle. There's like a owl here and then these two big witches, and I saw her fun curly cues and wanted them. So that's where I worked this month, and I'm loving this. I'm still loving stitching on it. It will probably be coming out on the 13th and 31st until it is done. Yeah, so there's All Hallows Eve sampler. And moving on to number 3, I pulled out Quaker Seasons of Friendship. I'm not sure if I have shown this on this channel yet, but I was watching the Seattle Stitcher, Megan, and she had just started this. This was my unicorn chart, and for a while, and I had no idea how I was gonna find it. I couldn't find it anywhere. And I put out a call. I think there was a thread on some Facebook group, and they were asking about unicorn charts, and I said, oh my goodness, Quaker Seasons of Friendship. I have loved this since I saw it, and I want it. And someone said, oh, that's not out of print. You just have to call Crown and Thistle. Is that who I called, or is that the designer? Anyways, I had to call someone in, I believe it was Virginia, and order it like over the phone, get it sent. It actually, they sent it up here, and I believe they had my wrong address, so it ended up going back to them. They got in touch with me again and said, hey, this was returned. Can we just check that we sent it to the right place? They ended up sending it back. I finally got it. It's beautiful. I am stitching it all in Silks Classic Colorwork Belle Soie. So the majority of it is in this color called Moss, which really is a lot grayer than I would think moss was. And then I chose a rainbow of other colors just to kind of throw in for something interesting. So I've got cranberry for my red. I have chocolate for what I was going to use as like an orange / brown. What's this guy? Cinnamon stick for my yellowish goldish. Collard greens. Beautiful. Chester's blue. And what's that say? Elegant eggplant. So that's my color palette. And anyways, Megan has started this. And it made me think, oh my goodness, I want to pull that out and stitch again. She shared some sad, well, scary, not A+ news on her channel. So I wanted to stitch this heart and this candle while thinking about her and her family, and sending all of my, as many of the good wishes and energy as I could while I was doing that. And then I also filled in with this Quaker motif, which actually has a cute little heart in it, and this crown, and I think a few of these little small guys. So yeah, Megan, I hope you know, some of this reached where it needed to go. So yeah, all the best for you and your family. So here's where I am in total. I'm kind of working in the middle. I believe this motif is the actual middle, and then it's divided into the 4 seasons. So right up here, this would be winter. And I believe down here is kind of the summer chunk. All right, there is that. Next up, on the 17th of the month, I stitch on Trans Pride Tapestry, which is by Dee's 20 Stitches and Uncanny Kari. I have talked about the saga that is this chart, and I was working again with the H-wall, filling in the unicorn. So yeah, nothing too exciting. I think I was trying to get 6 strands put in, and I think I got 5 before I got distracted. So this is gonna keep going until it is done, coming out on the 17th of the month. All right, the last whip that I worked on is my snow day project. I pulled it out on the first day that we had snow this season. We've had a couple of other little flurries slash, you know, snow grains that I haven't pulled it out for because we just weren't at home. But this is Hibernation Day. Here, I'll get the by Heartstrings Samplery. There we go. So I started at the top, and I'm kind of working through these snowflakes. But man, white is not fun. And I think I've kind of started some of this this border here because I can't just stitch white. Caroline from Off the Grid Needle Arts and Evertoe is stitching the same. She started at the bottom, and she's basically done this half, and I started at the top and I've done this half, and you know, maybe we should just sew them together, call it a day. But I'm doing, it's a full Roxy floss conversion on their fabric. It came as a kit because it is a long skinny chart. So here is where I'm at. Yeah, so I think I had 2 of the snowflakes already done. So I think I worked a little bit on it, and then I was like, I can't just do white right now. So yeah, it's coming along. We'll see how much snow we get this year. Apparently the powers that be say that November and December here were supposed to be warmer than normal, and then Snowmageddon comes in starting in January. So we'll see how that goes. That is it for the whips that I have. I have just been completely absent from my book that has all of my, you know, what I stitched on. I will get back into that hopefully in December. It's been a weird month. And so I think there were a few other projects that I did pick up along the way, but it was fleeting. It was all over the place. All right, so I have 2 starts for cross stitch as well. The first one, where are you? Are you under, there it is. The first one is what took up a lot of my time. I'm loving stitching on it. These are the houses on Peppermint Lane that I started stitching because Caitlin of Cross Stitch Kate mentioned it a few videos ago that she was thinking of starting it for her birthday in October. So I started it, but I haven't seen, she had like 8 starts that she wanted to do for her birthday. I haven't seen if she started this, but either way, I'm enjoying it. Yeah, we'll see. So I've got the first house that I'm doing. So there's 9 houses in the series, and I am basically, let's see, I have a really rough layout of what I am doing. So I've got 9 of them kind of all set out with bits of a Christmas song by David Miles, who is a performer from here in New Brunswick, that I love. So I haven't written anything up of how this is going to fit together, but all I did was I stitched this house. This basket came on the same pattern as this house. This is just the start of the roof line of the next one that I'm planning. I wanted to get that in there, and I got this little doodad in so that I knew how much room I had for the lyrics that I was putting in from this part. So yeah, I'm just kind of making it up as I go as far as spacing of everything, and we'll see. I'm hoping it's gonna work. The flosses that I'm using are actually the flosses from last year's holiday countdown box from Evertote, Modern Folk Embroidery, and Roxy Floss. And so yeah, I knew I wanted to use Roxy Floss, and then I thought, wait, the experts at Color, the designers, they had all these 24 flosses picked out to go on that project last year. Why don't I just use them? The only thing I changed is I did add a yellow. That was one of the things that was missing from the kit last year. I will say I didn't get the countdown this year. I shockingly didn't finish it last year. And I would really only be getting it for the flosses. I'll see, you know, I have so many patterns, so many whips that I would like to be working on. So I have canceled my floss club. I have also canceled all of my Patreons. I really want to be a lot more intentional. If I love the pattern that you've put out, I will get it. If I am in need, it seems like I'm always in need of more blues and greens as far as flosses go. I will go and choose those particular ones to fill out, you know, my floss stash. So yeah, there is Houses on Peppermint Lane. I'm loving it. I'm hoping that it will get a bunch of work on it, but I have, you know, ambitious plans. Okay, the second start. This was enabled by Laura of Lalody Stitches. I was watching her video and merrily stitching on, you know, autumn things. And she mentioned that she, on December 1st, is going to be starting a, let's see, what is it? Hashtag Stitch a Santa Sal. Starting December 1st. I thought, I want to stitch a Santa. Do I have other Santa patterns already started? Yes. Does that mean that I, you know, would have chosen one of those? No, I wouldn't. I instead bought a brand new pattern. It's called Victorian Santa, and I'll put a picture right here of what it's going to look like. So like I said, the sale is supposed to start December 1st, but I have no chill and couldn't wait. So after the Santa Claus parade on Saturday, I started this. Yeah, it's exciting. I haven't posted it with the hashtag on Instagram because this is just a secret between you and I that I started early. But I will start using that hashtag hopefully December 1st. So I don't know how many stitches that is, 500, 600. I am stitching this, all the called for DMC. This is 25 count easy grid Lugana, and I am doing 2/1 half cross. I actually find it really difficult to count stitches when I'm using half crosses, and I don't know why, but if I'm going to get this done, I need it to be twice as fast. And I also like using a loop start, and I do kind of a hybrid of cross country with parking and color completing and all that jazz. But especially at the start of a project, I've just been up in this first square and taking a color and kind of working it in this area and then parking it where it's going to go next. And I had been doing like one color and then a whole strand of black, and then one color and a whole strand of black, because there is a bunch of 310 in this pattern. And I knew that if I left it, it's gonna, you know, drag. But once I got this blob of black done, I'm just now getting all these little ninja stitches, grabbing it and seeing where it goes to. So yeah, this is going to be a long term, but hashtag Stitch a Santa Sal. It called to me. I wanted it. So that is it for the cross stitch. I'm not going to discuss haul in this video. It's been a month. Most patterns that I buy are digital, so it's, you know, I don't have anything physical to show you anyways. And starting next year, I'd like to do a lot of stitching from stash. So I will probably bring back the haul segment starting in January as a accountability to myself. So hopefully that segment will be minimal. But yeah, for now, we'll just ignore it because it's been a month. All right, so on to knitting. I have 5, count them, 5 finishes. Only one of them have the ends woven in and none of them have been washed and blocked. So we will start with what I worked on in the car on my way to Montreal. I finished my Studleberg sweater, I want to say. I don't know how to pronounce it. This is with yarn that I bought in Iceland, Let Lopi. This stuff, this was my yarn that I bought at a grocery store. I was so excited. So yeah, I finished it. It's beautiful. Like I said, I have to weave in the ends and get it washed up, but it is ready to go for the winter that is coming. Yeah, and so my last video, I also had a sweater finish. And I thought, wow, so sweater finish last video, sweater finish this video. What are the chances that I can have a sweater finish in the next video? I'm going to show you after I show you the rest of my finished objects. So, like I said, we went to that NCAA tournament. It was 3 days of basketball, 2 games a day, and I did stitching. Actually, I think I stitched this before the tournament. This is just a hat that I made for my youngest. I realized the hat he has been wearing, actually still fits. So he's 12, and I probably made it for him when he was 5 or 6. It was just really big and stretchy before. It still fits now, but I wanted to make him a new one. So this is Christian's Hat by Agnes Kutas. I will put the info below. I have a Ravelry page that I do not use, and possibly I should. So you can find the pattern on Ravelry, Christian's Hat. Then, these are the hats that I was stitching at basketball. I started with this one. These are called a Stash Busting Helix Hat by Jessica Rose. It's also on Ravelry, and I believe this one's a free pattern. The pattern calls for 3 different yarns, and you just helix knit all the way up, changing whenever you run out of a color. So I was just using scraps from a scarf that I actually made my ex a while ago. And actually, it wasn't really a while ago. It was at the beginning of COVID because, yeah, I still had to go to work, but there were no planes flying, minimal planes flying. So I had a lot of downtime, and I knit him a Doctor Who scarf. So this is just a hat to match with some of the leftovers. The pattern calls for, I think I said 3 yarns, but I only did 2 because yarn management didn't sound like fun. But I would helix knit with 2 until I ran out of a color and then just exchange it. Although, it does look like 3. Huh. Okay, I'm a liar. This one I did use 3. This one, I only used 2. So this is done with, I can't remember what the white is. I think it's a Barocco of some sort. The color is Noro. Silk Garden, I believe. So it does the color changey for me. Beautiful. So those are 3 finished hats. And then I also did, again, no ends woven in. I made, this is called In a Twist Cowl by Pearl Soho. Their patterns are all free on their website. Well, the patterns that I knit are free on their website. I don't know if they have paid patterns as well. So I just wanted a cowl that was gonna sit tight against my neck under my jacket, and this fit the bill. It's similar to a Mobius, except it has a full twist instead of just half a twist. So I don't know if you can see that. So if you're a knitter and you're knitting in the round, you know, every pattern says join in the round, be careful not to twist. This one you actually twisted. And yeah, so that was fun. Again, need to weave in ends and wash it. So those are my 5 finishes: 1 sweater, 3 hats, and a cowl. And then let me show you what I have for whips for knitting. I have another Helix hat that I'm working on. So this is also Noro. Is it this? It might be the same ball. I'm not sure, as I was using it with the other hat, but instead of the light, I'm doing a dark background. So that's fun. I think I've just started the decreases at the top, so this shouldn't be long. Whip number 1, and then, oh, whip number 2 that I've been working on for a few days is, I'll insert a picture here. It is called The Weekend Slipover by Petite Knit. It's basically kind of like an oversized vest to wear to keep your core warm. So here is what used to be a weekend cardigan. No, Sunday cardigan by Petite Knit. But I didn't like the fit of it, but I do love the yarn. So I took it apart. I'm working on taking it apart. I have 2 balls. It's got, I believe this is like a worsted weight wool, and then it also has like a silk mohair held with it, held double. And this, oh, what a mess. This is as far as I've gotten with my slip over. Let's see, on the needles. There we go. So this is the top of the back. And then I've got, this is the left shoulder just coming down. And now I'm working on the right shoulder coming down. Then I believe I join them together and work some of the front. And then after the arms are long enough, I join in the round and go until it's long enough. So the called for gauge for the slip over was 15 stitches per inch. The called for gauge for the Sunday cardigan was 12 stitches per inch. So I used I got my 15 stitches per inch and I was knitting on the slip over, and I didn't like the fabric as much. This one was just, it's a lot more squishy. This one was a lot tighter. So I decided to rip out what I had done and do some math and knit it at 12 stitches per inch instead of 15. I'm much happier with the fabric. I was originally going to knit the size large, I believe, and now I'm knitting the extra small, and it's going to actually be larger than the measurements for the large. Only slightly, but that's fine. Something nice and cozy. Okay, so those are my 2 whips. Now, confession time. I mentioned about finishing a sweater last week, or sorry, a month ago, I guess. Last video, finishing one for this video. And, you know, what's the chances I could finish one for the next one? So anyways, I was in, you know, the vault, in the deep storage of my knitting stuff, and I found these 2 gorgeous sweater project bags. They are made by Victorian Lane. There's zoink. Okay, so in these 2 bags, we have sweaters that are sorely, I left them and shouldn't have. In my defense, I broke my hand. So this sweater I actually cast on years ago. I am knitting this for who is now my ex-husband, though we aren't yet completely divorced, just separated. And I hate cables. And here we go. So I have a sleeve. I have a second sleeve. I have a body. Oh my goodness. Also, I have all of my cute stitch markers on here, which I want. So, yeah. Oh, I should say, what is this one called? This is the Hedge Fence Pullover by Eleanor Brown. And her company is called Exercise Before Knitting, which I think I need to start doing that. So yeah, this is a sweater that is just about done. I think, so I'm up to the underarms. This is knit bottom up. And I'm just starting knitting on the back. And then I'll knit the front, and then I join them at the shoulders, and then put the sleeves in. Like I said, this is for my ex. I was knitting it at the beginning of the year before I broke my hand, but then when that happened, it went away. I'm kind of thinking I should finish it and give it to him. I'm hoping to possibly, this sounds horrible, I'm hoping to possibly like invoke the curse of the boyfriend sweater, that maybe if I finish this, it will mean that my divorce will be finalized. That would be awesome. Do non-knitters know about the curse of the boyfriend sweater? It's basically, so you're dating someone, you decide to knit them a sweater, and within X short period of time, they invariably will break up with you. I've knit my ex several sweaters that he wears often. And I will probably continue to knit him sweaters because my current partner is always warm. And I like knitting sweaters. But anyways, yeah, maybe, do you think I can get this done for Christmas? Ooh, I wonder. Christmas? And if not Christmas, his birthday's in February. Maybe I'll get that. I will say I'm knitting for my ex because he is my kid's dad. I'm not just holding on. So anyways, that is Horrible Sweater from the Vault number 1. Horrible Sweater from the Vault number 2 is from this book, a Marius. So Marius is a pattern of a Norwegian, it's this particular colorwork yoke. I first saw it on Skandir Knits podcast. She's a Norwegian who is living in London, going to school in London. And I saw this on her channel years ago. I got this pattern and the yarn when I was in Norway in 2019. I will say I bought this pattern and the yarn to make the Marius for said ex, but didn't cast it on. And I decided I would cast it on for myself. Oh my goodness. Not only is there a sweater in here, but there is a whole interchangeable needle set. Oh my gosh. Well, okay. That's awesome. So anyways, where was I? Right. I was going to make this for the ex, never cast it on. We are separated and I decided I'm going to make it for me. So I cast this on, I don't know when, in my size. And look at this. I have sleeves. I have a body. I have most of the yoke. Oh my goodness. So let's have a look. Where is... So where am I? I have that band. I have that band. I think I'm just starting into the X's and O's. And then there's one little band and then finally that little pop of red. this is also a possibility for being done. My goodness. Okay, so, yeah, let's see if I can keep this up. Let's see if I can get a sweater done for my next video. We'll see. Okay, what else do I have written down here? Okay, so that's it for my stitching and my knitting. Quilting, I have done not much at all. I'll show that in the next video. It's been busy. Like I said, I've been reading. I've been stitching a lot. And actually, I've been knitting a lot. I've been stitching a moderate amount. So let's go on to my December plans. December 1st, like I said, I'm not doing the Evertote Modern Folk Embroidery Roxy Floss holiday countdown this year, but I did find this. This is by a French designer, Manu Crea? I'm not sure. Instagram got me. So it's basically, she's going to be, this is a blurry photo. This isn't, because it's kind of a mystery. So basically it's going to be one of these motifs every day, the 1st to the 24th. The entire chart is 193 by 285. But each of the motifs is 43 by 43, which if I do on a 32 count, will get me just over 2.5 inches diameter, which means maybe I can get a 3-inch hoop and make 24 ornaments for a tree. That seems crazy. Ooh, just thinking, what if I did it on 40 count? That would be just over 2 inches, maybe even tinier and cuter. I'll have to think about it. So yeah, that's what I'm planning. Will I be able to finish each motif in a day? Probably not. If I'm stitching them all separate, maybe I'll try and start each day. I might be able to, I don't know. I'm going back to work. Who knows? So there's my first plan. Kind of a foggy plan for the end of the month for like New Year's. I'm not going to partake in the 12 by 12, but I'm thinking of maybe doing something 12 days of Christmas instead. So that would start, this stitch along is going to go from the 1st to the 24th. And then from the 25th to January 5th, I was thinking of doing like a 12 days of Christmas. Now, whether that's 12 starts, or, you know, putting X number of stitches into 12 whips, or I have 3 12 days of Christmas stitches. So maybe doing like 4 days on each. I'm not sure, but well, that's kind of like foggy. Maybe something will happen. As far as floss tubes go, I'm planning on doing in December 2 videos. One will be a whip parade and planning video, my plans for next year. The whip parade will not be all of my whips, I don't believe. I have lots that you haven't seen. What the whip parade will probably be will be all of the whips that you've seen since I started my floss tubes. So you'll see kind of where they are, and into my planning will be what whips I have planned for my monthly themes next year. Yeah, so that's one video I'm planning, and then at the end of the month, towards the end of the month, I hope to do just a normal catch up so I can show you all of the things that I got done in December. We'll see, maybe there'll be another sweater. Maybe I'll have 24 ornaments ready for next year. Yeah, that's it. If you made it through, thank you. Thank you for, you know, not forgetting that I exist. And yeah, I will see you, you know, 2 to 3 weeks for that planning video, and then at the end of the month for my monthly catch up. All right, bye everyone.